Sirius XM Shade 45, CtrlAltDStroy, DC Comics, Marvel Comics create superheroes. And here I am with the phenomenal DJ Rob Swift. What's going on, my brother?
Chilling. What up, D?
Come on, cuz. Planet Fitness #1 member right here. Retro Fitness. Let me get it right.
Retro.
Come on, son.
Northern Boulevard across the Best Buy.
Yeah, when you're done.
In Astoria.
When we're done trying to get a job taking cement to people's houses in the parking lot of Home Depot, we go across the street, man.
And pump iron.
And get our workout in. Yo, so Rob Swift here, a turntablist, a DJ, somebody who cares not only about the craft, but also about the culture. And we'll get to everything that he's got coming up. But guys, as we are talking, I want to make sure you guys understand the caliber of human that this is. Brolic, what's the Instagram? Brolic Army?
Yep. Well, that's the school.
That's the school, yep.
And my individual page is just Brolic Arm.
Brolic Arm. Go out there.
BROLICARM.
This is going to be special. The reason why is because what I did mention was Brolic Army, which is the DJ school, which is a unique concept, man. If you can, what's your ultimate vision for it?
To create an army of DJs to offset a lot of the BS that we see in the DJ culture taking place right now. Just yesterday, bro, I opened up my IG and I saw a robot DJing in San Francisco. Straight up a robot, bro. And that's the kind of, can I curse here?
You definitely can.
That's the kind of shit I'm trying to offset with my school, man. It's funny because a buddy of mine that I used to make music with saw me after a few years. And D, you know me for how long now? Like 25, 30 years, right? So there was a point where I was skinny, and my boy saw me after a few years, and I put on some mass, right? So he was like, "Yo, damn, Rob, you're brolic now," right? So and he was like, "Yo, your arms are crazy big." So I started calling myself Brolic Arm just as a joke. And a student of mine, my mission, to answer your question, was to create an army of DJs to offset, as I said, the bullshit that we see in the DJ community and in the culture right now. So she was like, if you call yourself Brolic Arm and you want us to be your army,
that's ill.
That's ill, right? Brolic Army. So that's how the name for the school came about.
That's beautiful. Look, man, right here, right now, we are talking to none other than DJ Rob Swift, who has been a part of a lot of different things, man. Bro, you've been in some rooms. You've done scratches on some songs. What are some legendary ones that people could understand?
Fat Joe, Flo Joe.
Flo Joe, credited too. You credited.
And I got the credit on the album, right? I did scratches for, what's the joint that Preem produced? On the Reel. So I did 2 songs on Fat Joe's Represent album.
That's sick.
I did scratches for Bob James on a lot of his work.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of his work. But for me, the studio sessions that really just helped me understand how to conduct myself in a recording studio, I gotta go back to the Akinelli days in Power Play Studios in Astoria, Queens, with Large Professor. That's where I met Nas for the first time, Big L for the first time, Q-Tip. Those were some amazing experiences I had with Ak and Large Professor and the whole Queens Lounge.
Wow.
Word.
Imagine a window into that world right there, because it is early. You know, wet behind the ears, figuring it out, kind of excited because all these things are happening around.
Yo, super excited, man. So I used to compete. That's how I got my name out there. And in 1992, I entered the East Coast DMC. And by then, my name started to really get around, especially in the Northeast. So Akinelli heard of me and was at the same time shopping a deal, because the Live at the Barbecue joint was like, everybody was going crazy
for sure
over that song. He was the 3rd rapper on the track. So, and for those that may not know, Live at the Barbecue was the song that Nas made his debut on. Big ups to Joe Fatal as well. And obviously Large Professor, but Oxverse was dope too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was all about Oxverse, and unbeknownst to me, he was at the battle, the 1992 DMC.
Wow.
So I happened to win that year as well. So after I got off stage, he went up to me and he was like, yo, man, you're dope, and I want you to be my DJ. Like, I heard of you and I actually came to like verify that you were dope. And I ended up winning that night, which is crazy.
Shit.
And I say that to say, after he gave me his number and we went our separate ways that night, the next day I was calling him like, so yo, when are you gonna get signed?
Yeah.
And then the week after that, I call him, yo, so when do you get signed? Yo, I know he must have been so tired of me calling him, but that's how excited I was, man.
Yeah.
And finally, this was in March of 1992 when he and I met. And then by that summer, after calling him weekly, he was like, yo, I got my deal. I'm signing the Interscope. And
fire.
And then we started recording Vagina Diner, his first album.
Wow, so classic. I Love Her was on there. That shit was such a banger.
Yup.
Then later on in life, I find out he's Panamanian. I'm like, oh snap, let's go.
Yo, so for those, not to change the subject, but for those that, you know, want to claim that Latinos are a minority in hip hop, you don't even know who's Latino in hip hop these days. You know what I'm saying? Because we come in all shapes and colors. Clark Kent, rest in peace, was Panamanian.
Right.
I'm Colombian.
Yep.
Akinelli is Panamanian.
Spinner.
Yeah,
Just
man.
Blaze.
Exactly,
Salute. There's a lot of homies out there that people won't know.
Word.
That are just stealth or assimilated so much.
Right. Or what I would say is, the way I would put it is, before 2020, we weren't tripping off who's Latino and who's not. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, say that again, bro.
Before 2020, we wasn't tripping off who was who as far as ethnicity was concerned, because hip hop is about show and improve. It's not about what race are you. And, you know, I don't even believe in the whole concept of race. Like, there's no race of people. Whenever I hear that shit, man, I think about that movie Underworld and how you have the race of vampires and a race of fucking wolves and shit. Like, there's no race, man. There's one race, human race.
Yep.
And if anything, we're a species, you know? So as far as hip hop is concerned, it doesn't really matter, to quote Rakim, where you're from. It's where you're at. You know, where you're at with your art, with your creativity, man. So wasn't, you know, I didn't care whether or not Clark was black or Panamanian, or no one cared if I was Colombian. It was like, yo, can you DJ? You know what I'm saying?
You want to hang out?
Do you want to hang out? Do you want to get creative?
And if me and you or me and anybody is in some part of this planet and anybody's trying to test us, we all we got.
We're all we got.
So I got to say, man, that's beautiful right there. Great set. And we are here right now because this gentleman who is going to have a blast and blow my mind on the Rumble Mix, he is also an author, man. The city of hip hop, New York City, the Bronx, and a peace meeting. Now, what's great about everything that you just said leading up to this moment is the components of peace, love, unity, and having fun. And this book is a great education about the culture and inception. If you can, and I know you did say a great thing right there. But what's another misconception people may have about hip hop's origins?
I think people reduce hip hop to this art, and it's more than that. It's a response to poverty. The Bronx in the 1970s was experiencing a heavy fiscal crisis. It's also, I like to say that the Bronx in the 1970s was like a petri dish, and a petri dish is what biologists, scientists use to grow bacteria, right? So you throw all this bacteria inside this dish, and then over time you see what grows, right? So the Bronx for me is an analogy for a petri dish, in the sense that you had a fiscal crisis in New York City. the Bronx was feeling it heavy.
For sure.
You had a mixture of Latinos and blacks, black Americans living in the Bronx as a result of the Great Migration. It wasn't just blacks from the South migrating to New York City. It was Latinos from Central America, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Colombians. My father migrated to New York City in 1969. Also, in the Bronx, New York City, a lot of people don't realize that urban planning, urban renewal projects to construct the Cross Bronx Expressway, courtesy of Robert Moses, who is actually a mega racist, right? And he bulldozed communities to build highways like the Cross Bronx Expressway and displaced families, black families, Latino families. The whites that lived in the Bronx saw what was happening and they were like, yo, we gotta bounce. So white flight took place in the 70s. These white families were moving to places like Yonkers, White Plains, Long Island, and Robert Moses built this highway sort of as an escape route for these white families with cars, with money, to leave, to exit the Bronx. And in essence, by doing that, he also trapped the Latinos who were poorer, the black people who were poorer in the Bronx. So without getting too deep into it, hip hop was a response to all of these things that were happening, taking place in the Bronx. Redlining is a practice that banks applied to separating people according to income. So if you were black or Latino and weren't rich or well-to-do, they would take out a map and figure out where are the black people, where are the Latino people living in New York City, and then mark those areas with a red marker. So if a white family, let's say an implant from another state, again, there was a great migration to New York taking place in the 70s. So if a white family arrived in New York, sat with a bank, wanted to get a mortgage, the bankers would be like, don't go to the Bronx. Don't go to this red area. We're going to put you in this green area where you'll be amongst other white people. So hip hop is a response to all of these things. In this petri dish that was the Bronx, you had this, just these parallel movements, these parallel incidences, and hip hop is a response to it. And so to answer your question, when people are like, well, yo, you know, hip hop is about fashion, or hip hop is about how dope you could rhyme. Yes, in a sense, how we dress, what we do as far as rapping, DJing, breaking, graffiti, the four elements, all that is hip hop. But at its core, hip hop is a response to oppression. And for that reason, it doesn't matter whether or not you're Latino or black or... Yo, did you see the video a couple of weeks ago of those kids in Gaza breaking?
Yeah,
and there's like rubble behind them?
Yeah.
Hip hop is a response to your conditions, socially, economically. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the book is basically talking about.
Wow. Once again, Rob Swift, the book is titled The City of Hip Hop, New York City, the Bronx, and a Peace Meeting. Now, I highly encourage everybody out there who has the opportunity, if you are a reader, and I would encourage people to read also, because that is a great thing to, you know, not be distracted from social media. Sometimes things like this is a great thing. Now, I just want to make sure I say the publisher right. Is this Routledge? Routledge. Okay, cool.
Out of the UK.
And I love that because, you know, it's showing that a company out of there is backing what you and Rasul are doing.
Yeah, big ups to, real quick, Rasul Moat. I just want to make sure I squeeze in his impact on my ability to get this book out. What inspired me to write the book was, as we were speaking earlier, in 2020 during the lockdown when no one was going out and everyone was stuck on their phones posting stuff, their ideas, their thoughts about whatever the fuck, I was discovering this new narrative that was taking hold about hip hop belonging to black people, black Americans. We got to make a distinction these days, black Americans specifically. And it was weird because
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So like I'm reading crazy shit and I'm like, so I'm not black? You know what I'm saying? Like Grandmaster Flash isn't black because he's from Barbados, and Africa Bambaataa isn't black because he has Caribbean lineage, and Kool Herc isn't black because he's Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? So this narrative was just really catching fire on social media. And so I'm, you know, I could be an argumentative dude, I guess. And so I'd push back whenever I would come across a tweet talking about I'm a culture vulture because I'm Latino, which is funny to me because I've been doing this since 79. I would push back, and then after I'd push back, then a swarm of dudes would just like, and chicks too, like didn't matter, like just bombard me with like crazy stuff. You know, I'm a culture vulture, I'm a colonizer, and I'm like, word? You know what I'm saying? So after 2 years of arguing with people online, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write a book.
Wow.
I'm gonna write a book. And so I started writing the book, and after 6 months, I had basically the whole book, the blueprint of the book in front of me, but I wasn't sure if I was approaching it in a way that was tying in what I wanted to say in a proper manner. And so I hit up my boy Rasul Mowat, who's a professor at NC State, to help me finish it, and here we are.
Wow. Once again, the city of hip hop, New York City, the Bronx, and a peace meeting. Rob Swift is here. Guys, throughout the rest of this show and time, I want you to know we're dedicating the rest of it to my man's Rob Swift's effort to make sure that people know that this book is out there and informing folks, because he is of the culture. He's been in the paint before it was even popular and a cool thing to do, before Serato and carrying crates when you was the Skinny Rob, right?
And yeah, man, when I was Skinny Rob touring the world with you, you know what I'm saying? And Raider, rest in peace, and Total Eclipse, and Sinister. D-Stroy, how crazy is it, bro, that we're here and we are still standing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've done so much together, bro, and like I'm proud of you, man, as well, man. I'm proud of you for all you've accomplished, and as a Latino, I'm honored that you represent us. You know what I'm saying? And I see all the stuff that you talk about online and shit, you know, and all my black brothers out there and sisters as well, man. Like, yo, we gotta stop fighting and get together, man, because when you think about it, none of us own this shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So it's like, why are we fighting amongst each other?
And back then, it wasn't about race. It was about you. We all broke.
We're all broke.
So we need
trying to better ourselves. Yeah. And using our creativity as a springboard for that, right?
Peace, love, unity, and having fun. And I'm going to tell you, man, every hip-hop event needs everybody in the room to appreciate it. That is everybody. I'm talking to my Filipino homies, my indigenous brothers and sisters. Everybody belongs, because we came in, and though we might have those challenges where people are trying to tell us our culture, like, fam, what? But here we are. So once again, everyone, it is the city of hip hop, New York City, the Bronx, and a peace meeting. We're going to get into a rumble mix. Let's play this joint, and we're going to come back with your man, Rob Swift, right here on CtrlAltDStroy.